Okay, so it's kind of glued wherever it needs to be. Some glue is still drying, but I can already start to fill the unneeded holes with a little bit of wood filler. Then I will sand everything down, then fill again until everything is almost okay, because it will never be okay to my standards, but almost okay. And I'm going to start doing the initial sanding on these things. I want to see how flat is everything before I start filling stuff up even more. Maybe I will even try to peel this edge, because I have a feeling that this edge is higher than the other. Yeah, it's for sure higher. So I might want to peel this edge if it's peelable. If not, I need to sand through it. Also a possibility, we'll see. Anyway, this is what I have. Probably I will change it to one with holes, not much coarser than this, I think, but we'll see. I will just see how it goes. This is a bit off center because I modified my vacuum to have this, so it's a bit annoying. I need to also hold on to that to give it a nice flat surface, but I think we can deal with this. So let's see what, just as a start, for about 2 minutes of work, this is working incredibly well. So yeah, now let me have fun with these two on all sides. And if you are thinking that this is wood, no, it's paper, just colored paper. So yeah, I don't care about it. But neither is it coming off easily. Just in here it had an area where it came off easily, so I might need to sand through it. This is going really well. Yes, it takes a bit of time to get rid of that paper and make everything at the same level. I still have this channel to fill up a little bit. Okay, patched up what was left around the edges. I think it's good enough, but honestly, if there's anything that I do not really like and I'm not that great at, it's this and patching up walls, for example. I never get it right because I try to make it perfect, and like that you can screw it up and you need to start over. So yeah, but anyway, I think it will be much better than what it was. And the edges, I will not go as deep as I got in here. This was not necessarily intentional, I just needed to get everything flat. So what happened here is because I needed to have stuff flat on the front as much as possible. The edges, I'm not going to go to the wood behind as much, just rough it up so the paint adheres to it, and make sure I don't have scuffs and stuff like that visible. And obviously after that I need to fix the corners and grind them down. Machine work is mostly done. As you can see on this top, there was a big lump here, a smaller one here, smaller one here. They are perfectly flat now. I'm rounding out the edges by hand with a bit of sandpaper. Yes, some would prefer perfect corners. I don't give a damn. I don't want sharp edges on this. They will chip. Yeah, corners will again chip. I don't want perfect. I want good enough and nice for me. I need to still fix a tiny bit in here. I think it got a bit too deep when I was sanding, so I need to solve that thingy. Maybe here the corner just a tiny bit, and it's ready to be painted. Gave it a good wipe with alcohol and a cloth. As you can see, there was still some dust from grinding, from actually not grinding, I don't know, sanding probably it's better. Tried to fix the corners that were a bit too rounded. Not possible with what I have. It just comes out of that when I start to work on it. So some corners will be rounded, but I did fix other chips like that, so that's somewhat good. And yeah, ready for paint. I will paint the back of it black first time and the edges up to here, so I will mask at this level. When that has 2 or 3 coats, we are done, and we will do the rest of it white. Prepared everything, so now I can paint this with a roller, and I will not be worried about getting paint on the side that should be white at the end. Okay, so first layer already looking good. But I think I'm going to put 2 or 3 layers, and especially I want to seal these edges because they are the first thing that gets damaged from moisture in time. And also that area I want to seal it. So yeah, at least 1 layer, maybe even 2. Took this in another place to dry. We have 2 layers in here now, and I'm stopping at 2 layers. It's way more than enough. That's not a defect in the paint, that's a defect in the wood itself. So yeah, and I shouldn't have touched it there. Anyway, I wanted to show you. Anyway, I think it's pretty good for the back of the speakers. Should be protection enough, because heat protection is what we want. And yeah, let's do the other one at the same level, and then when this is dried, paint it white. Also decided to remove the masking on this, because I think it's easier to remove without any damage when the paint is not completely dried. So let's get rid of this now. On this speaker that I modified, I needed to go much, maybe a millimeter lower in the sides, because this went a bit deeper inside with what I cut from underneath it when I first removed it. So I started to open pores in this, so I needed to fill them up all around after first sanding, and then I will redo this. So a bit later I bought a few things, mainly film capacitors to replace the old ones, because most likely those aren't good anymore. So got these thingies. They are I don't know, somewhere in the middle in terms of price. I think they should do the trick. And something else, I kept thinking about this thingy. I don't know what kind, but seems to be, I don't know, coming apart, and also I don't feel it nice on my fingers. I don't think it's fiberglass, maybe rock wool. Not really sure what this thing is. Maybe I can give you, let me try even closer look. But the idea is, I do not want this thing in the boxes anymore, especially I do not want it in something like this, and without it, it kind of leaves residue on my fingers like a dust or something. And this is an open enclosure, and it starts to ache, to itch a little bit. Anyway, open enclosure, moves air, gets stuff out of this, puts it in the room, you breathe it, gets your airways get irritated, and you're not having fun. So I decided to keep it. I'm not going to throw it away. I will use it in some sealed speakers that I'm going to build later in the year. So both of them will get used in those, because if they are sealed, this stays in there, so nothing bad will happen. But I bought this thingy, which is again special for speakers, and this is I don't know, some kind of cloth material, some fibers. So this is basically probably similar up to a point to what you will find in pillows and stuff like that, more or less. So this is not a danger to your health. They are basically just long fibers. So yeah, we are going to be putting this in the boxes on all walls apart from the front baffle. All the others will be getting this, and I think on the back I might be putting a double layer. So yeah, hopefully I have enough, but I should have enough. I will let it decompress and glue it with some spray on contact glue. And the second one is also smooth AF. I literally saw a fly landing on it and almost breaking its leg. So yeah, I think we can paint this. Also did the sides, so everything is ready to be painted. But what I want to do put this first in, make sure it's all filled up, then rotate it, paint the back of it, and then put this in the one that I already painted the back, because I don't want to be putting this in after I have the front painted in white, as I don't want to damage anything while the paint is not fully cured. And after I paint it white, I will let this for a few days to sit around and fully cure, and only then we continue with the installation of speakers, filters and knobs and whatnot. This is what I will be using. Cut and inserted the top part, then fold it over. I'm going to spray it. I'm going to also spray the wall behind, and then when they are ready, put them together and do the same at the bottom, and then come with the other part up to here, then with the sides, and maybe another layer on top. We'll see. Put the bottom, they are also glued right here, so they are touching properly each other. Then what was left from the initial cut is here. Then I cut another strip right here. They are not yet glued. That's my next step. And on the other side there's a long one top to bottom, because we have the port here, so this might be moving a little bit, although we might be putting in a tube. Some were saying about 15 to 20 centimeter tube, but you need to play a little bit from cardboard. I will test a few lengths and see what sounds better, because many say that the original just hole sounds like crap. No experience with these speakers whatsoever until now. High fly, don't break a leg. We'll see, we'll test. But anyway, I don't think I'm going to put more than I already put of this insulation, because I think it's easier to put more than to need to remove it after I have glued it. Because we are going away from the original design at this point, so could be better, could be worse, depends. We'll see. And it's filled up and it's also drying. So don't know if I showed you the black paint that I used. This is it. And now this is going to be the white paint. Hopefully is as good as the other one, because the other one dries really quickly, but I was a dumbass and decided to buy a different brand, because the store where I went didn't have the other one. So hopefully I didn't do a boo-boo, but we'll see. You know what? Not bad for the first layer. The only downside, it seems that the wood glue is coming a little bit and staining the paint. But most likely in the second layer we'll be getting rid of that. If not, third layer. Go, 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 until we get rid of everything. And there's a mark there, although initially it was kind of all perfectly level. I don't know, maybe I missed that just a tiny bit in this corner. Wasn't as perfectly level as I thought. Or maybe the direction that I'm painting in somehow made this worse. But yeah, another layer, maybe it will somehow mask it a tiny bit better, because perfect it will never be, because it should have been like this, so you don't see any seams. But it is what it is. I'm doing what I can here. You know what? It's not the wood glue. It's what's left of the stupid brown paper that was covering the edge. Somehow color is coming out of that. So it's not the glue. Because glue we also have here, and nothing is coming out of it. And it's not coming out exactly where the glue line is. It's coming right next to it. So yeah, some of that stupid paper remained. On the other speaker this will not happen, because there I needed to go so deep that nothing was left of the paper. Anyway, it is what it is. Maybe 3 layers will do the trick. We have the third layer on this one. It's beginning to look better, but in some areas this stupid thing is still visible, in others not anymore. So probably 4 or even 5 layers will be needed on this. And this is the kind of finish I'm going for. And painting is finally done. I honestly lost track of the number of layers on these things until I could get rid of that stain that was still coming out after each layer. So yeah. And the second speaker, and yes, I wanted this type of finish on them. I used a roller and used it until it was getting closer to be dried, so it left it I don't know, rough like this. This is what I wanted. It's not a mistake. So yeah, let them dry and then continue this. And finally they are freaking done, and they are symmetrical. Ooh. I put on them some really tiny silicone rubber feet. That will do the job perfectly. They are, I think, 99% dried. Again, I lost count of the number of layers put on these things to make sure that those weird spots don't come out again. This one, the edges are much better flowing. On the one that I actually reversed the front plate. On this one, not so much. So I could have done that a tiny bit better, but yeah, it's more than good enough for me. Let's put it a bit lower. That's freaking awesome. Sorry for bumping into the camera. It's right there. And obviously I made sure this material is bigger than the staples. So even if they go all the way in, which they probably are going all the way in, because this is quite easy to compress, they cannot pass through all the wood and come up on the other side and damage the exterior. And we are ready for reassembly. I'm starting to clean stuff with alcohol. I will replace the wires with some thicker wires, so we don't run into any limiting factors, and start putting stuff back in. But I will put some seals around all of this, because I want that box to be perfectly sealed apart from the base reflex port. Run into a problem with these crap wires. They might look like they properly have solder on them, but they don't. It seems they are actually aluminum and just a really freaking thin layer of copper on the outside, and when that one gets burnt, instantly they don't properly work anymore and you cannot solder properly to them. So I don't want to have bad contacts in here. I'm going to search for other wires, probably electrical wires, not speaker wires. Yeah, sue me, I'm going to use electrical wires. I'm sure the quality will suffer a lot. Yeah, really. Anyway, I'm not an audiophile, these are not audiophile level speakers, so I just want thicker wires to literally not use from the power that the amp is transmitting. And I actually realized these are the same wires that created problems in the door of my car, and I will link the video in the description. Kind of need to mark this as being bad and get rid of them. Maybe actually directly get rid of them. Now we're talking. I can properly solder these wires, and they are even thicker. 1.5 square millimeters. So that's perfect. Be sure not to overheat the metal going through the plastic. It will melt the plastic and you will have issues. There's a spring in here, it will try to pull it out. So yeah, don't ask why I know that. Next step, I will poke a hole through this so the wires can go in. I put this in place, make sure it's aligned so it will allow us to push it in. Then I will remove the protection from this double-sided tape and it should seal once it's pressed in there. Hopefully, we'll see. Everything is aligned, starting to go in. Yes, this is the positive wire. Make sure you do not mix them. Now just slowly push it in place and all should be good. Quite hard to show you, but yeah, this thing is sealed. It touched and the double-sided tape sealed in there. So that's exactly what we wanted. And at this point I can also put the label right here. I'm going to somewhat align it because again it's cut crooked from the start, so I cannot really go wrong. If I align one side, another one is not okay, because I don't want this label on the front of it. I don't like it, but on the back, yeah, why not. Cleaned up the tweeter, measured it, 4.6 ohms. That's a bit weird, but yeah, we'll see. Hope it works well. And wires are soldered. Let's tighten this thing in. Okay, put again a bit of this double-sided tape in here. It's caution tape with the adhesive on both sides. Connected the wires to this, screws ready, cleaned this up. Let's, I don't know, simply slide this thingy in. Yeah, I need to make sure I align it better and then put this on it. Prepared the mid-range switch, cleaned with a bit of contact cleaner. Maybe you can see it's shining right where it's touching. Kind of hard to show you that. Yeah, it's not looking perfect. I'm not aiming for perfect. I'm quite positive this is touching. As far as I can see, this is a high force design, so it's really pressing onto those. Should not be an issue. And yeah, put some again double-sided tape on the edge and put the wires, solder the wires right there, and put everything in. Managed to clean the yellowish replacement ring that I bought. It's not 100% identical. As you can see, this chamfer is a bit smaller, but I don't care. It's not yellowish anymore. Good enough for me. Put some glue on the ring and I'm going to glue it back in position. Prepared to go in, double-sided tape, ring is glued in here, and just realized that these things have actually this, which perfectly fits inside this channel right there. So hopefully in the back of the speaker I put it the right way in, because I didn't know about that, and one of them was from factory actually put the wrong way in, as you can see, and now I put it the right way in. But yeah, there's that. So again, this is not polarized, the switch, so I could use these two wires, doesn't matter which is which, and seems to be going in nicely. Make sure you put it the right way, because otherwise at the end it's gonna be really hard to rotate anything. And yeah, if you are wondering what's up with this, I don't want to damage this paint in any way while I'm working, so I keep covering things when I put something on. And now honestly, because I know the mid-ranges don't sound that good, and I've searched a bit on forums and others say about the same, the mid-ranges are not that great on these speakers. Maybe some of you would like to change them, but in that case probably the size of this thing is not correct anymore for a new mid-range. But with today's video sponsor PCBWay, you could create your own custom box and they can 3D print it for you. Also, again, you could transform this into a standard modern filter on a PCB. PCBWay also handles creating PCBs, obviously. So you could make this a little bit more modern, and you could also upgrade the drivers if you want to do that. Ready to put the tweeter in. Did exactly the same to it as to the other, just remove the protection from the double-sided tape and slide it in there. And you might think, hey, but you have identical wires. No, I don't. These are thinner than the others because the tweeter uses less power, so I can recognize them, although for mid-range and for this I have same ground type wires. They are not identical. Next step, I'm replacing the mid-range wires. They are coming out through that, and maybe I will need to enlarge the holes to put bigger wires. The hole, actually, there's only one for both wires, and then just put some glue around it to seal everything back up. Replace the wires. Where all they bundle up and they are white originally, that's the negative. Yeah, I know. Anyway, and yeah, you might say, but how do you know which is positive? Well, on the positive I put a bit of red because I wanted to also use these ground wires. Yeah, anyway, if I have this red, I know that that's my positive. Now I'm replacing the caps. Yes, these are kind of no names, more or less. They had a brand when I actually bought them, but it's nowhere to be found on them, so I don't know. These are 10 microfarads, like the one in here. and 250 volts, so much more than the 63, and 2.2 microfarad at 250 volts. But yeah, maybe I should have bought a bit better quality ones, but honestly, the really, not necessarily the really nice, any brand caps are actually quite expensive. So yeah, in these speakers I'm trying to not waste too much money, because everybody already says that they sound like crap, honestly. So I'm hoping they are wrong, but I'm not going to invest too much money to find out maybe they are right. So yeah, let's replace the caps now, and then on this, on the outside, I will be putting a bit of this thingy, which is for cars. It will not allow this to resonate stupidly. I've seen a lot of people do this on every single plastic component inside speakers, and it makes sense. So I have this left over, so why not put it on the exterior? Nope, my bad. By the marks on this, the outside of this thing is actually pretty close to the edge of the hole. So it will not fit in. I need to put this on the interior. Yes, it will decrease the internal space, but let's be honest, it's a stupid plastic box for the mid-range. And it's done, and let me give you an idea of the difference. Let's take a good look at this before putting it into the speaker. I put glue wherever things were touching. Capacitors are glued down, coils are glued down, so things should be fairly stable. So first is in, and this is positive in. Again, this is negative, this one for everything. So every wire that needs negative, every speaker that needs negative and also input, they come here and meet. We have this one right here, bass speaker. Let's see, on this one right here we have mid-range switch between these two, then another wire right here, tweeter switch, one of them in here, same as mid-range, and the other comes right around here. As for capacitors, you can see one is connected directly to positive input, and another output is where the switches are also connected. Back to here, capacitor here in parallel with these two connections. Black one that's coming from the tweeter switch is then going to the tweeter itself, right there. And we still need the mid-range speaker, and honestly I cannot freaking see it. Where's our... I'm an idiot, I forgot they are already in that box. So one of them is getting, as all others will, directly the negative, and the other one is getting this from the coil itself, the smaller coil. And the smaller coil is actually wound into... I don't know. I don't think there are two coils, because I only see two wires coming from them, from that. So there's a single coil in there, but they didn't have enough room, or I don't know what the logic was to use two levels. But anyway, so there's the other mid-range connected. Actually, the mid-range, not the other one. So yeah, everything glued, everything is in place. We are ready. We have our wires marked. We can put this inside the speaker, start soldering our wires to this board, and go from there. Then we will put in the mid-range. Oh no, wait a second, I need to put in the bass speaker. So the bass speaker needs to go in, because I need the wires to be able to solder them here. Yeah, so let's put in the bass speaker. I want to do a quick final test to make sure that red actually marks positive. And it does, it's pushing outwards. Wires soldered. Going through this, I did not yet cut them to length, I will cut them later, I'm not sure how long I want them at this point. Put the double-sided tape. I'm sure at one point in time I will regret using double-sided tape instead of some foam, but I only have this in huge quantities now, so it is what it is. Just make sure I poked a bit the holes, make sure they are aligned with this, because once I drop it on the double-sided tape, it's there to stay, so yeah. And it's done. And already starting to sound interesting, we'll see. I just need to put now the grill in place. Okay, starting to come together. Yes, they are old, they have scratches, they have dings, they are beat up, but they will still be working for a few, actually not a few, many good years if I don't abuse them and I don't abuse speakers, so good. So we have one of the mid switches wires, second mid switch wires, this is tweeter switch wire, and this is second tweeter switch wire, so these things are fully wired. And we continue searching for wires in here to connect to the remaining 3, because we only have 3 remaining: base, tweeter and input. Soldered all wires. We have 4 on the neutral, that's the neutral for the mid-range, which is the odd color, so this is perfect. Then we have mid-range soldered, we have switches, 4 wires for switches soldered, we have base soldered, we have input soldered right there, and we have tweeter right here. So and yes, I'm using all of this to protect, I don't want to damage anything while soldering. This already has a rubber lip on it, so it will seal on this. I can just lower it in place, and this side of it is done, and I'm just going to attach the mid-range after I put some polyfill inside of its box. Wires are soldered also on this, and yes, of course I checked the polarity with the battery trick, so it's good. This is positive on this side. Fill this with polyfill, about the same amount that was there in before, but this is much better for stuff like this compared to what was in there. This will not be creating any weird noises again. It's something on the lines of Dynamite, or I think that's called, that's its name in audio, in car audio stuff, but we don't care here. So let's put this in here. I don't think I'm going to put any kind of sealing strip on the outside of this thing, because it will stay quite nicely on this, and for mid-range sealing I don't think matters that much, honestly. Or should I put it? Thinking. Moved the wires because they didn't have enough room, and almost did a really bad thing. Forgot this is aluminum and it was touching this, so we had the chance to short stuff, so I cut it in this area. There's 0 chance for this to touch anymore. And we are almost finished, and I want to show you something. I know that this is perfectly sealed because I slowly press it. Look at it, how slowly it comes up. So this thing is perfectly sealed. That's awesome. If I do the same on this one, it comes back up instantly. But let me use a tripod and close this with my hand. Now let me show you. If I seal this, let me do my best to perfectly seal it, although it's not going to be perfect, but anyway, good enough. You see it? Much slower compared to when I don't do it. So I managed to perfectly seal this box, which is perfect because we want only this to be the hole. I don't want air escaping wherever it wants through this. And now let's do the finishing touch, which is this, but I'm not going to put any double-sided tape around it. It's not that important for me also this to be sealed, honestly, but I still will put double-sided tape, but not now, because reading online about these particular speakers, some recommend using a 20 centimeter tube instead of just leaving this as a hole. It seems they have much better results. This is not 20 centimeters, but I'm going to test with different lengths over time on various types of music and see with what I have the best results. That will be a separate video linked in the description of this one. and I'm going to give you my opinion. So this is why I'm not putting this forever in here with double-sided tape, because I want to do some trials. So I'm not even going to fully push it in. It will just be enough so I can get it out without destroying these speakers when I manage to pull it out. Nice, I really like them. Working on the second speaker, and I measured this tweeter and it has 7 ohms, not 4.6. So yeah, that's a bit of weirdness. I think that one has the coil replaced or something like that. Anyway, I keep it at minus because it's louder a bit than it should be. But yeah, it is what it is. Nothing that I can do. Maybe in the future I will replace it, but anyway, for the moment, good enough. Found a screw that is somewhat similar. I don't have anything that is exactly as the right one, so yeah, it's going to be used. Probably you can see it, but only if you really want to. A bit nicer job with the wires now that I knew what was actually going on and how long they actually need to be to reach here. But yeah, it's good. And they are freaking done. And I honestly love how they look. If I would pay somebody to build them, this would have been what I wanted. So yeah, they are not new. They have small defects. I made small mistakes. The paint could have been better. The preparing for the paint could have been better. The speakers could look a bit better. The drivers themselves, if I would have spent just a bit more money. But I don't care. They are mine. It's my work in here. And yeah. So now I'm going to spread them just a little bit so you can have a listen yourself and make your own opinion. And after that, I will tell you my opinion about them.
reaching towards the sky, trying hard to see the light that shows him where to go so he can do what's right. She says there's something in the air that's taking hold of me. Yeah, she tells him there is something he should know. Oh, the stars are gonna shine much brighter way than it's here. No more darker days. Throw your cares away. 'Cause we are one, wild hearts. Not gonna stop us from feeling the love. Love in the air, light in the dark. Giving us strength to carry on. We'll stick together all the way. We'll be alright. We are one, wild hearts.
So yeah, I'm quite curious. Obviously, it's recorded through a phone. It's really hard to guess. Maybe with headphones, good headphones, so you get the most of the quality, but a lot of things will be lost through recording, so nothing that I can do about that. But let me tell you my feeling. And it's they are not bad. Let's go there. Some were saying they are crap. No, I don't consider them crap. They are not at the level of most modern speakers either. That's quite clear. What is really weird, and I don't like it, the tweeters. The tweeters are a hot mess, honestly. They are just pumping high frequencies, but you cannot tell anything apart if you raise the volume a little bit. It's just everything in there, just bothering your ears. Yeah, you can remember that one has a different resistance. I'm expecting also impedance, obviously, so I have no clue if it has the coil changed, so I need to keep it at minus, and then they are balanced, so that's usable. Again, also, I'm telling you my opinion about this variant with the modifications that I made with the repaired speakers in the way that I repaired them, which is not ideal, obviously. I would not spend money to buy new speakers for this. I know it's cheaper to get second-hand, good quality, nice speakers than rebuilding this with new parts, honestly. So I wouldn't pay more than I already paid to have them the way they are now. That's quite clear for me. The bass, it's there, it's strong, it's a lot. But either I remember that I don't like bass reflex, or I don't like bass reflex in terms of these speakers, because you kind of feel when that thing is coming into its own, and there's a rise in bass, and then doop, you are down once again. The ones that I built, I will link again that video in the description, are compression speakers, and they are way, and I mean way more balanced. I was absolutely lucky, 1 in a million, because I just bought some boxes, threw some speakers in there, threw some filters at them, and again, 1 in a million lucky. I will link the video. There is audio test with them. With those things, you like the highs. You feel the difference between different sounds. When something is playing on them, if you close your eyes, literally, if the recording is good enough, you have the feeling that somebody is playing in front of you. With these things, the way they are, just because it seems like there are stuff playing through different speakers. So there's not one thing playing, you feel like there are multiple things playing. Yeah, it is what it is. They are not as nice to listen to, but again, I think I will use them together, one of that with one of this and this with the other one, and together they might feel just fine and be enough for my needs, because I can pump a little bit more power into them. Those I cannot put as much power. The speakers in them that I put in there, they are quite robust Russian speakers, but they cannot handle as much power as I sometimes feel like I want to be throwing at them. Not always. It's actually quite rare. But sometimes I want to be throwing a bit more power than they can handle. And together with this, zero chance that I would ever want more. But yeah. So overall, you can listen to these things. A lot of people will like them just fine without absolutely any issues. I'm not an audiophile or anything of that sort. I don't care about that crap. Important for me is that I like to listen to a particular speaker, and I'm not going to pay a lot for just a cable or who knows what. Don't give me that crap. If I like how they sound, I will listen to them. If I don't, I won't. These are at the limit below which I start to but they don't sound good enough to listen to them. They are right about above that limit, so I can listen to these things. I will never feel, wow, what a sound. That won't happen, but it's decent enough that's usable and I can use them as they are. Yes, most likely they can be made better, but what I'm going to do is again use the tubes to try and tune those bass reflex ports, as some were suggesting on some forums. That will be a separate video if I manage to get anything better out of them. If not, that video will not exist. And yeah, so that's about it. Would I rebuild them the way I did? Absolutely. The end result for me looks nice. I like them. They are decent enough sounding that I can use them. They do pack a punch and they can take quite a decent amount of power. Do not throw a lot of highs at them, because almost everybody manages to blow out the tweeters. Why the hell you would listen to that hot mess of highs by giving it even more highs from the amp? I have no clue. I'm going to tone it down a little bit. But yeah. So that's about it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Give us your opinion if you ever listen to this as they were from the factory, because I have never, honestly. Or if you rebuild them as they were from the factory, maybe, actually not maybe, for sure you have an absolutely different sound than what I have here. Everything that I done to them changes the original sound. There's no denying that. And yeah. Would I still do it like this? Yes. Many people were saying on forums that they just suck whatever you do. No clue. I did this. Yeah, good enough. Works. So that's about it. Hope this video helps you and you found it entertaining. In which case, please give it a like. Check out my other videos, and as always, see you in the next one.